Verse 328. Inconceivable transformation death is in union with habit energy. When interrupted, death is put a stop to, the net of passions is destroyed. The context here is of the successful enlightenment practitioner. And the successful enlightenment practitioner is one who has a very clear, direct understanding of the relationship with what is apparently going on. And what is apparently going on is there's a world out there and there's an individual here interacting with that world out there. The enlightenment practitioner, when practicing, has nothing to do with that understanding. The enlightenment practitioner, when successfully practicing, is established in awareness. Sometimes I say established in pure awareness. But it's probably more accurate to say established purely in awareness, because awareness is simply awareness. There are no degrees of it. Awareness is what is hearing this, and this is all it is. If you are relatively new to this, or even if you're not, you might think that's not very inspiring. But then you'd have to look at that attitude as well. You'd have to look at that reaction, because being established purely in awareness is without that reaction. Instead, there's appreciation of the fundamental nature of this awareness. And we're told here the net of passions is destroyed. That means there's nothing distracting us from this awareness. There is no doubt undermining this awareness, or undermining the ability to remain in this awareness. There is nothing which is going to convince us that what is going on out there, or in here even, is real, is worth taking very seriously, is worth investing emotionally in. And we're told that when this net of passions is destroyed, death is put a stop to. You might think, gosh, immortality. The thing is, not only is the external world, or the conviction in its reality, put a stop to, but also the conviction in the reality of a personal psychology here. So it's not that you become immortal, you simply realize that you've never been born, and that you're as much of a fiction as everything else that you've been told. It's described here as inconceivable transformation death, which is still in union with habit energy. We've got this habit pattern, a pattern of moods, a pattern of thinking, our psychological disposition, which tends to identify us with certain aspects of what's going on, and to give these aspects validity, to give them reality. And while we're succumbing to this, we are not successfully practicing. As long as we believe that there are things going on out there which we get caught up in, then we cannot be practicing. The successful enlightenment practitioner is established in tranquil indifference to what is apparently going on, to these apparent changes, one thing leading to the next, a continuity from the past through the present into the future. This is transformation, which continues from birth to death. As long as we buy into that story, we are not established in tranquil indifference, tranquil equanimity, tranquil dispassion. And it's called inconceivable because we cannot conceive of that point at which death is supposed to occur. We don't really know. We might have certain beliefs, that's the end of it. Or we hang around somewhere in some indeterminate state until we're resurrected, or we're reborn in another body. These are the usual options that we're given. I'm going to give you a new possibility here. And I'm not sure this has actually been expressed before. I'm sure somebody must have expressed it. But I'm going to suggest what happens at the point of death. And it was something which became evident to me in the series of videos on the Yoga Vasishta. What happens when you die? Well, I'm not going to describe what happens when you actually die. I'm going to describe what happens shortly after that, because I think that's what we're interested in. And what happens after the point of death is, I'll give you an example. Your alarm goes off. It's time to go to work. You get up, do your morning ablutions, maybe have some breakfast, give your partner a kiss, and once you're dressed and ready, off you go to work. Of course, it's not you. This is somebody else who's got another life, who's been living another life. It could be any age, 20s, 30s, 40s. So what I'm suggesting here is, you're not reborn in the sense that you come out the womb of another creature. You enter into another life fully formed. A life which has got a history. there won't be any memory of the life that you led up to the point of your death. So that's just my suggestion. I don't know about you. This possibility has an uncanny aura of likelihood about it. And you might ask, well, what's the connection between that new person and the one that just died? Well, none probably, except they might have the same sense of self, certain opinion about themselves. There's somebody that's basically good, trying to do their best, or somebody that's basically bad and should try and do better, or somebody who's basically bad and accepts just being bad and gets on with being bad. Who knows? Who knows? There's probably a certain fundamental sense of who you are which continues. But apart from that, you can be in absolutely any situation. But all of that's a bit irrelevant. The point is, this is what we need to wake up from. One dream reality after another. This is the inconceivable transformation death in union with habit energy. It never stops. But it can be interrupted. And when it's interrupted, we awake from this continuous transformation and death. We've stepped back from our habit energy, from our moods, and the net of passions, if not destroyed, is at least, if we're continuing to practice, severely undermined.